Hi, I'm Ken Lockie. I traveled over to Keene, New Hampshire to meet with Ian Galipeau to talk about his music. Here it is. Thanks, Ian, for having us in your house and in your studio, in fact, to talk about your music.
Yeah, thanks for being here, Ken.
How did you get started playing and performing music?
Yeah, so I started playing it was for school, right? It was my 7th and 8th grade general music class. I had to pick a guitar or keyboard. And I thought keyboard was less cool, so I chose guitar. And I struggled for a couple of weeks to play as a right-handed musician, and couldn't figure it out. I borrowed my dad's electric left-handed guitar, which I'm sitting next to, and figured it out in a week. I went through the course material and was like, all right, this is how this is supposed to work. And so kind of kept up with it a little bit for a couple of years. And then when I was a sophomore in high school or so, my best friend Dan got a drum set, and we were like, all right, let's do this. He did not stick with the drums, but I got totally addicted once I started playing with people. It was a lot of copying bad Nirvana songs for a couple of years, and then kind of finding my own voice, but played at a talent show or whatever in my early high school days and just kept up with it. And then started to do some solo stuff when I was in my early 20s. Playing farmers markets and things, and I've just kept up with it since then. Now at 35, playing almost exclusively solo stuff. I play bass in another band, and I just love it. I found it was writing songs and making music was a great way to meet people and to connect with people and to find my own voice as a creator.
So tell us a little bit about your process in songwriting.
My process in songwriting is it's all over the place now that I've been doing it for a long time. Like I said, I started kind of writing bad Nirvana cop-outs when I was 15. I'm now 35, so I've been writing songs for 20 years. And a lot of it was, early on, it was very cathartic, right? It's just like, get these feelings, these big feelings I'm having out on a page. Yeah. And through the course of writing and practicing, I began to treat it more as a craft of like, this doesn't just have to be whatever spews out in the first draft is what it's going to be. It's how can we hone these ideas or really dial in the very specific emotions or pictures and images and thoughts that I'm having. In this past September, I challenged myself to write a song a day for the entire month, which was nothing I'd ever done before. Right, I write a song when I'm really on a tear, maybe one a week, and more normally, like one every other month. So this was I started on September 2nd and said I'm going to finish the month with a song a day. Every day before I go to bed, I'm going to close the book on whatever I'm working on. And I did finish with 29 songs, and some of them I had to accept were going to be terrible, and some of them I'm really, really proud of, actually. And many of them are things I never would have thought to write about if I was just waiting for ideas to come to me. Yeah. Just looking at the world as soon as I wake up in the day of what is going to be my song for today was a total mindset shift, right? And it was a great experience. I was ready to be done by day 29 over 4 weeks into a song a day. It was exhausting. It was hard for my wife and my kids sometimes when I was coming to bed after midnight because I had to finish that last verse. But it was a great experience, and I loved the result and a lot of the process too.
So your album, Like We Were Never Here at All, in 2022.
Yeah.
So tell us about the recording process on that album.
The recording process for that album was, we're sitting in my home studio here.
So it was all in this room?
All in this room. The only things that weren't recorded in this room were the drums, for the tracks that had drums on them.
So how'd you get the drums in there?
The drums I did with a couple drummer friends of mine. One who has kind of a home drum recording setup. He played on 4 tracks. And then another, Sam Vent, and my friend Justin Gregory. We recorded those drums at a studio over in Peterborough, New Hampshire. That I'm in a band called Modern Fools. We have a recording space over there, and I use that recording space to just track drums specifically. And then everything else was recorded in this room. Yeah, recording all to a click. I'm dedicated. Got to have a metronome to make it make it work.
Oh, so when you initially lay down a track, you record to a click?
I do. When I'm going to ask a drummer to play to it, right? I do my own demo and decide how I'm going to produce it, and then I'll say, all right, I do want drums on this. Let's lay it out and get some kind of demo with some instrumentation for a click to kind of lead my drummer where the track is going.
The tempo, right?
Yeah. The tempo and the style.
So you've done a few EPs or singles since the 2022
I have.
record. What changes in your process have you gone through? Is that an evolution? Have you kind of found good things at work?
Yeah, so let me see. I released 3 singles last year and then a short EP. Those, again, were all recorded right here. It was just trying to play the algorithm a little bit, honestly, right? That's how the world works for musicians a lot, is trying to keep people's attention and releasing a song every couple of months.
You mean the streaming algorithm?
Yeah, the streaming algorithms, right? We're saying, hey, I've got new music every 8 weeks or something, as opposed to, here's 13 songs I just spent 2 years on.
And then silence.
And then it's good, people listen to it, and then they move on to something else, because there's whatever. But yeah, so the singles were, again, recorded at home, more acoustic in nature than that album, but partly because it's easier to do those, but also the nature of just those songs, right? The stuff that was on Like We Were Never Here at All spanned 10 years of writing, and they weren't like, those were the 10 songs I wrote in that 10 years, but it was stuff from various bands that I'd been in that never got finished, and then there were some songs that kind of lent into that kind of full band production. And then I had like the singles that I'd released over the course of 2023. There were just more subdued songs, and that's what they called for, was a couple of guitars and a good vocal take with some harmonies. Really does more service to those songs than let's get a full band together. You
want to tell us about your home setup?
Sure. I've got Logic Pro on my old iMac here. I use a Behringer 4-channel interface. I've used that for the last that album and all the singles since. Been really happy with it. It's a wonderful little budget piece of equipment. I use a little Art tube preamp.
Yeah, I had one of those.
Just to give a little warmth. I record almost everything through a microphone I've got here. This is an SE Electronics large diaphragm condenser.
I have some SE Electronics gear too.
I'm really happy with it. It was, fairly inexpensive. I can't afford a Neumann. And so how
did you come to select the SE large
I was
condenser?
looking in whatever the price range was, like under $400 was really my target. And there's so many options, but in researching that, I read that Amy Winehouse tracked all of Back in Black singing through one of those. And I've been happy with the way it works on my voice.
So let me ask you about influences. What artists or performers would you cite as inspirational or influential in the music that you write?
My influences are all over the place. I would say, as far as
starting with Nirvana, I guess.
As a teenager, yeah, but it's certainly evolved since then. Now it's certainly different, right? I get all kinds of things from people at shows. Gregory Alan Isakov is someone who I actually listen to a lot and who I get compared to occasionally. Ray LaMontagne, just in terms of the sound of my voice. Ben Harper, I've heard a couple of times. Yeah. All artists I really love. Growing up in the 90s, right, there's a lot of 90s alternative artists that are very close to my heart. And Dan Wilson from the band Semisonic is one that still speaks to me. He does solo stuff now. But you listen to Semisonic and Closing Time, and right, there's a pop sensibility in those, but the bridge is in a totally different key. Like, the way he uses bridges has always really interested me, and that's certainly something I've learned from.
Here he is performing at a recent show.
This is a song called Passenger.
Darling, I'm a passenger caught inside the rhythm of your train, laying on the rails just to feel your lightning humming through my veins. And it seems like a dream as your wheels draw close, 'cause I finally lost my grip, but I can't let you go. Maybe I am burning out the fire that you built inside my soul. Mama told me not to play with fire, but now it's out of my control. So I sweep up the ashes and I'll blow away the smoke. 'Cause I finally lost my grip, but I can't let you go. Oh no. Now you know I'm trapped inside the hourglass of who I used to be. Counting down the minutes till I finally find a way to make you see. And I'll keep on believing these lines that I wrote. Finally lost my grip, but I can't let you go. Oh no. Go.
How do you approach lyrics?
Yeah, lyrics are my favorite. If you ever have lyrics you want me to edit, that is my favorite thing in the whole world. My approach is very much, right, for my own songs. A lot of the time, it's that I'll have this idea, whatever it is, this kind of grand scheme for the song. I'll talk specifically about my new single, The Little Things. I had this idea of, again, I was talking earlier about copying ideas from other songs.
Sure.
My favorite love songs are a little bit sad, all of them. And So It Goes by Billy Joel. If We Were Vampires by Jason Isbell. There's like this hint of this doesn't last forever, and that's what makes it so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And so as I started working on that song, right, it's a love song, but I've been with my wife for 18 years, more than half of our lives we've been in a relationship. And so I wanted to get to this payoff of like, but it doesn't last forever. And I started thinking, right, this was an idea that just stewed in my head for a month, 2 months, of how do I write that song, that new love song that captures the breadth of this relationship and appreciates why it's so precious to me. And so I kind of laid out, like, I can talk about when we started, and I can talk about where we've been, and we have kids now. So that's a verse. That deserves a verse. Mm-hmm. And I touched on each of those things. And as much, I love taking a look at whatever it is, 4 lines, and how much can I just squeeze out of the 4 lines that I've got to capture this moment in my life, in each kind of vignette that works through in that song. And so there's a degree of like paying attention to, the details that you're including. And I also like to include words that are either a little bit vague or imply two different things. That's word play and or being able to say one thing and mean two things. Or some of my favorite artists do that, and it's something I really try to do. And a standard that I do hold myself to when I write lyrics is that if I showed up to an open mic or something, I don't play too many open mics anymore, but if I did, and I said this when I was younger, and they were like, this isn't for instruments, and you still have your 15-minute slot, I would want to be okay just speaking the words. Like, stripped of the melodic context, I want the words to carry the song on their own. Like, no, they're not going to sound like a convincing, brilliant poet, but I treat them that carefully. Like, if I just had to speak these to someone, I would not be embarrassed by them. They're very thoroughly composed. I've thought about every single word. There's nothing throwaway in any song that I've released in the last 10 years.
So you don't use any cut-up techniques or word tree kind of things? Not
usually. If I find that I'm stuck on a song,
you can iterate a few things to just get a few out there.
Yeah. I will write extra verses. I'll say if I only have a first verse and I really don't know where I'm going with it, sometimes I'll cut that verse right in half, or I'll say, all right, this is verse 1 in the start of verse 2, and we gotta flesh it out from there. Or I'll say, what if this is the second verse? What would I do before that? Or I'll just, again, like, it depends on the idea. But yeah, just like word association, like what are some ideas or images that make sense with this section that I have? Or particular rhymes that work well, like pairs of words that might end my other verses.
Would you be able to play us something?
Sure.
Today?
Yeah. I'd love to play something.
Okay.
So this is a love song written after 18 years together. It's called The Little Things. One day I was on my own, just floating through the motions. 17 and wandering, a kid without a plan. Somehow you were there to help me find the right direction. What you saw in me, I know I'll never understand. But you said you love the little things no one else could see. You fit my broken edges like a puzzle piece. One day we were married in the house that you grew up in. Your grandpa's story held 100 people misty-eyed. Every day the changes come on just a little faster. It's easy to forget how hard it was to get it right. Working through those little things no one else can see. Searching for the notes to write our melody. One day in the hospital when everything upended, a baby girl with eyes like summer twilight in my arms. A couple years of chaos and a sister came to join her, with fire in her spirit and stained glass in her heart. And I find you in those little things no one else can see. Patterns in the branches of our history.
couldn't say which side of that divide I'd rather wait on. But if I go before, you know I loved you all my days. And I'll find you in those little things no one else can see, holding to the corners of your memory. And one day when the atoms that were me decomposed, and the ones that made up you are out there drifting through the sky, I like to think we'll meet again out there among the stardust. Two pieces in a molecule, together like old times.
Here's our last song from Ian.
This is a total change of pace, this song. So this is one, like I said, that I had an idea for, and it was specifically the chorus, the last one, like this idea of the last one, and how that phrase, that concept can change meaning over the course of a life. And it was specifically because I'm kind of a morbid individual, my wife says, and I think about it all the time. Whenever I'm with my friends in a group setting, whether I'm with our family, I'm like, it's always just there in my head that, like, oh, one of us will watch the other 8 people here die. One of us will be the last one out of this group. And that it's funny, and it's more, but it's like, it makes me very present in the moment. And it makes me love every second that I'm frustrated with my dog or my kids or my wife or my mother-in-law. Like, it's great, right? That perspective of, like, this is not forever is just there. And so this phrase was in my head, and I'm like, how do I write a song about this that isn't just overboard, weepy, melancholy, indulgent? Because it's so sad on its surface, that thought. And so I just sat with it for a while, and I had kind of the beats of the song, but I didn't know how to do it. And then I was listening to a Wisconsin artist who definitely was doing a Tom Petty impression on a particular song. And I was like, what would Tom Petty do with this song idea? And that allowed me to finish the song pretty quickly. And I said, all right, there can only be 3 chords. We gotta get in there. This is called The Last One.
When we were young, we would play freeze tag, running loose in the field forever, all fun and games, sunrise to sunset, running around like a Ferris wheel. And one of us would be the last one running free, be the last one running, the last one running free, be the last one running, yeah, no. The wedding bells, you were the first of us to give it all to your love forever. A house and kids, a life in pictures, settled into that good enough. But one of us would be the last one running free, be the last one running, the last one running free, be the last one running, yeah, I can't stop thinking about